Join me today for another BattleTech book review, this time Hunting Season by Philip A. Lee. Welcome to the Geek Cabal channel. My name is Bob, and today we're going to be doing another BattleTech book review, Hunting Season by Philip A. Lee. Quick note, you'll note the little symbol here. This is the Republic symbol, denoting this is a Dark Age era book, not an IlClan Era book like some of the more recent reviews, even though this isn't a very old book. So, to the non-spoilery parts, this is a book focusing on the Free Worlds League, which is kind of a rarity. They don't seem to get a lot of the spotlight. It seems like it's mainly the other four houses fighting each other, while the Free World League is fighting itself most of the time. So one of the books I did a recent review of, the last one I did a review of, whose title completely escapes me at the moment, I apologize, involving the Wolf's Dragoons. Give me just a moment. There's a listing of books back here in the back. If it was published later, it'll be back here, although I don't think it was. No, it's not. Yeah. Anyway, you have to check my other reviews for that one because I can't use my phone because I'm recording it. So, as per usual, there's one thing I should have planned ahead for. Redemption Rights, I want to say is the name of it. Anyway, part of that book takes place within the Free Worlds League, and they meet with Jessica Merrick, who is the Captain General of the Free Worlds League, which, if you've read that book, then this is some things happen in this book that you'll know how they turn out, and I'll get to that in a minute. So, like I said, the book's about the Free Worlds League. Doesn't involve the clans that have kind of busied up to the Free World League, like Clan Seafox and what's left of Clan Nova Cat and the Spirit Cats are all kind of there in the Clan Protectorate zone. They don't heavily feature in this. This is mostly internal Merrick, internal Free Worlds League drama. So, anyway, I think I got that wrong too, by the way. Hang on. No, Jessica Merrick was the Captain General. If you've read the other book, then you know that Nicole Merrick is the Captain General at that point. So anyway, the book is pretty well written. It flowed pretty nicely. It's a longer book. It's not one of the novellas or short stories or anything like that. It clocks in at, this is the printed version, obviously, at 324 pages. So, there's a lot of story there. It does reference events that occurred during the Dark Age books that were released by WizKids. So if you started off with just the Catalyst books, there's some backstory you're going to need, which, I mean, to understand the Dark Age, you should be reading those anyway. I have not done reviews for those because it's been 15 years or out there since I've read them, and the plots are all kind of blurred together at this point. It'd be difficult for me to single any books out, except for one particular event that that keeps getting referenced in this book, that I believe occurs in the book Pandora's Gambit, and that's the destruction of this resort. It's like a mountainside resort, and the only reason I know that, assuming it's the same one, assuming this didn't happen on more than once in the reconsolidation of House Merrick, is because it's on the cover of Pandora's Gambit, the original cover, not the new cover. And I've recorded a video trying to explain the significance of what I just said as far as old cover, new cover, and all that. I'm going to try to re-record it because I need to get a few facts and figures in there to make, instead of just spouting off. And I remembered most of it, but I want to get a few concrete numbers, so I'm probably going to re-record that because several books were printed under WizKids that have then been reprinted under Catalyst, and they have different cover art, and they fall into the Legends heading, and there's a whole deal with those. I'm going to try to explain. But anyway, so like I said, the book's fairly well written, focuses on the Merricks. Get a little bit of action from the Lao, primarily in the form of Denai, Laos, and Treya, because she and Nicole Merrick are friends going back to, again, one of the books in the WizKids era, where everyone goes to Earth for the funeral of Victor Steiner Davian. And I don't remember offhand what book that was. That might be the Scorpion Jar, but I'm not 100% certain on that. So there's not tons of mech combat. This is mostly like politicking. So the parts I occasionally find boring in the books, not many of those here, but there's a bit, and you do get to see some of the attitude of the Merricks whenever like the Sea Foxes show up on their side. They're just kind of like, oh, those weird clanners, like they can stay the hell away. This is internal fight. So, you get a little bit of that. But anyway, so on to the spoiler part. This book features the death of Jessica Merrick. She dies in a bombing where they are trying. Well, first her husband dies. Her I believe it'd be her ex-husband at that point, who he is all of her children's father. She remarried later to gain the Merrick name. All this happens in the WizKids books. Because there's like 4 or 5 books that are all about the reconstruction of the Free Worlds League, and they were definitely some of the better books in the series. I'll try to flag which ones they are and talk about them a little bit at some point. So her husband is killed in the very beginning of the book. It looks like an accident, but we, the viewer, obviously see that he was murdered, and that puts Jessica Merrick into a depression spiral, and Nicole is eventually forced to try to either pull her out of it or to issue a vote of no confidence in the Senate and have herself temporarily or permanently declared Captain General, because right now she's the Warden General, which means she's basically in control of the armies. So her mom comes back all fiery, and it's basically like, we need to hit all of our enemies all at once. So that's the Regulon Fiefs, the Duchy of Andurian, probably the Marian Hegemony, and I know there's someone else I'm forgetting here, but basically everyone that's attacking them. Whenever the Free Worlds League reformed, the Regulon Fiefs and the Duchy of Andurian did not rejoin, even though they historically are members. It's kind of important. So as the book progresses, she gets killed in a bombing, and there is some evidence pointing to Nicole Merrick. None of the people that have the evidence believe that, and we know that's not true, because we know that the guy who did it is doing this all for himself, for revenge against the bombing of that mountainside structure that I mentioned earlier. His wife was there and she got killed. Well, he is a Capellan intelligence agent who is there on other Capellan intelligence agency business, but like has been doing this all on his own. So he goes off the reservation, does this, they hunt him down, and like there's all kinds of misdirections and things, and they're trying to figure out who's really involved. Denai allows some of the Capellan intelligence agents to help Nicole try to find the killer. What she doesn't know is they're pretty well instantly compromised by another Capellan agent who's trying to save this guy. So she unknowingly puts people in Nicole's camp who are out to get her. And well, once she's dead, they do bump Nicole up to be the Captain General, and one of her first acts is that she will also remain the Warden General. So she'll not only be the political leader, but also the general. And she focuses all their efforts on the Regulon Fiefs because she believes that their leader, Lester Cameron Jones, is responsible for all this. And as we find out at the very end of the book, he is responsible for her dad's death. And I don't know if we knew this from the other books, but one of her siblings was killed in an assassination attempt, another one crippled. And that was also him. And again, I don't remember if we know that from the old WizKids books, but we definitely know it now. And then they know that her mother was killed by this other guy who was definitely an intelligence agent, who definitely, I think they've pieced together he's a compelling intelligence agent. But they don't know if he was actually acting on the commands of Doshin Lao, because that doesn't seem to make any sense, because he's busy fighting the Republic and doesn't need to open up a new war front. And they figure that out. So by the end, they have the Regulons over a barrel, and instead of executing Lester Cameron Jones, they end the war, somewhat disband the Regulon military, mainly the ones who committed war crimes against them, and then kind of break them up and send them around, but they reintegrate them into the Free Worlds League. She names Lester Cameron Jones Prince to rule over Regulus and to keep continuity. And she knows going in that this guy's responsible for some shit to her family, but she also understands that, like, you know, you gotta compromise things to rule. And her mother made sure she realized that. She left her a dossier full of all the evil, twisted things she had to do, including bombing that place, which no one knows. They thought it was like a Splinter Cell Word of Blake type that did it. But no, her mom ordered it, and the intelligence agency carried it out. So she's got to, like, reconcile those things. But it ends with Nicole Merrick in charge of the Free Worlds League. And yeah, so like I said, good book. Interesting look inside Free World League politics that we haven't really seen a whole lot of in the Catalyst era. We did see at the very end of the WizKids era as far as books. So again, I'll try to, somewhere down the road, I'll try to piece together which books all covered that, to at least give like a reading list if anyone wants the background here. I might try to do it and put it down in the description if I've got the time. Otherwise, it might be a separate video. We'll see. But yeah, the book's definitely worth checking out. It is a little behind the other books. Takes place in 3147, I believe. There's a minor jump towards the beginning of a couple years, I think. So it's around that era. Definitely worth checking out, though. Be a link in the description to the Amazon affiliate link if you want to purchase the book and help the channel at all. If not, there's the audiobooks. Catalyst sells the PDFs on their website. Maybe your local library has it. Anyway, you want to check that out. Let me know down in the comments if you have in fact read this book, and if you have, what were your thoughts on it. Do you want to know more about the Free Worlds League? I can't tell you a whole lot because I've only read a few books about them, but I'll try. But yeah, other than that, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, because this is YouTube. And remember, no guts, no galaxy.